Welcome to my channel.
The discovery was unnerving and heart-wrenching, followed closely by disbelief, anger, and hostility. Betrayal gouges one's faith in love. The discovery was unnerving and heart-wrenching, followed closely by disbelief, anger, and hostility. Betrayal gouges one's faith in love. Later, relief arrives. Catching her cheating was bittersweet, which might sound odd. Bitter on the front side. One decides what to do afterward. It's a fork in the road and a choice you live with. Bitter, yes. The sweet comes days, weeks, months, even years later. When your gut tells you something is wrong, trust it. When you sniff a cheater, don't pretend the smell doesn't stink. Denial is a powerful air freshener. One might not have absolute proof of the affair and may not need it. Each relationship has a differing level of proof. Suspicion is not proof. Guilt keeps us from making false accusations. Trust keeps emotions in control. Thinking back, denial was always mixed in. Denial's a boozy sea times tale, dulling the pains of suspicion. Denial allows one to pull the wool over one's own eyes. Be careful, there is a balance. No one is easier to fool than yourself. I hoped it wasn't true. Hope is a poor strategy. Prepare for heart-wrenching anger and disbelief at discovery of proof. Prepare to be played and feeling like a fool. The path towards truth is exhausting, excruciating, and all uphill. Yes, I found out. She had, and I discovered, a previous affair when we were quite young. I forgave it using my last dose of youthful exuberance. A few years later, I strongly suspected another. My radar was on full alert. She got brazen and slipped up. Cost her dearly. Millions. That's real. The truth. She had serial affairs during the 22 years of marriage with several men. It's never a lie until the truth is discovered. Johnny Lee, Wyoming. Q scene. Wife puts down phone, smiling and finishing her makeup. Honey, I'm heading to Jenny's house. Girls' night out. I'll be home late. Might stay at Jenny's. JLW. Thinking damn near out loud again. Dressed like that? Oh, I'll be here. Text later. I love you. Wife. Pecks Joe's cheek in passing love ya. 7 heel clicks. Door closes. Car starts and pulls away. She picks up her phone and dials. She can't wait to see him. Okay. Call me as times exist if you want. After 22 years of marriage, a man knows what his spouse would and wouldn't wear to a wide range of events. Her story and wardrobe certainly didn't match. Not even close. I'm thinking joggers and plimsolls. She's wearing a knit dress and her best Valentino Garavanis. Opened a bottle of Riesling. Inspected the glass. After a sniff and a sip, finally hear knocks of denial. DNIL. Later, around midnight, checked for her texts. Nothing. Rolled over. 2 a.m., no word. The next morning, 7:43 a.m., chimes a text. Sorry, we got smashed. Best for me to stay at Jenny's. Alarm bells rang in the distance. I muted them and pulled the wool back over my eyes, silently wondering who the duck is. Jenny. I'm taking act time zunts. Never ever heard of Jenny, never met her. In the totality of the marriage, she's never been out unannounced overnight, dressed like that. Wasted again. This is all unprecedented. Over the weeks, new patterns emerge. Last-minute appointments made and canceled. Usual events are missed. Cash exclusively is being spent. She comes home late, smashed, and sleeps on the couch. There was always perceptible space between us. Mentally, she was detached. She wouldn't answer simple questions. Her consciousness of guilt must have been overwhelming. Wail of sirens reminded me of London's ambulances. Something had to change. Winter had packed up, said his goodbyes, and was gone. Days later, spring arrived, wiped her feet on the doormat, and came in. Obligatory thunderstorm in the distance. The time had come. This must be faced. Emotions were torrid. Time came and made my accusations, presented my proof, though circumstantial. She was silent, smirked, and denied. Her guise was convincing. She reassured me and kissed my cheeks, one by one. She looked me right in the eyes, unwavering. My own senses came partially to her aid, dressed as doubt. Didn't want it to be true. The inner conflict was unbearable. Through the conversation, caught myself covering my ears, shaking my head no. Covered my mouth, still shaking no. Closed my eyes many times. Classic denial. She texts him and says, "Need to be careful. He knows something." Days drag. The patterns continued. Late again, last-minute cancellations, taking calls outside. Finally, allowed myself to realize the truth of the matter and decided to catch her. No more denial. Time came to mentally discard the wool. The light of truth hurt my eyes. She had to work at hiding the affairs. She struggled a few times a week producing a believable alibi, or at least one I'd hopefully accept. I'm sure it was hard work. I joke. Going to gym again. The gym question works better spoken. You see the intent in writing. She always said yes. Suspicious and finally accustomed to the light. When she'd get home, I'd check her gym bag. Clothes smelled fresh from the laundry, everything folded, socks spare. She always came home showered. Guilt rinse, I'll suppose. The anger started building. Thoughts scattered. Doubt was back. Doubt is a mother ducker. Doubt kept reminding me how much it hurts to be falsely accused. Wasn't sure whose side my emotions were on, especially that ass times let out. Rage filled my inside. I finally told doubt to shut the duck up. Odd patterns continued. I'll save the details of many and slide you one. She is tied to her job set, her phone. She constantly checked it, kept it tucked away or held ever so close. Always went outside for a call or texting. Notice it's locked. Her phone is locked. Cue theme of Mission Impossible. Plan. Get the phone. Get into that phone. It's my best proof. Truth. Yearn to know the truth. Or maybe not. The fictional character Jules Winfield said, "If my answers frighten you, then you should cease asking scary questions." Scary questions, yes. Prepared for scary answers. Maybe, what if Jules Winfield is right? Did a bit of research and found a method to crack the phone. Observed her unlock code pattern for 3 days. Stayed calm, aloof, and emotionally neutral. I'd look from the corner of my eye or across the room and followed the shape of the pattern with a pin on the grocery list. Always tried to stay calm. Heart pounding. Picked off the first digit in minutes. 1. Seemingly 4 to go. 3 days later, repeatable success. Her grandmother's dog. Match. Couldn't raise suspicions now. My inner voice was howling. A Friday evening over a glass of Malbec, sparkles glinting off the pool, whimsically asked my young son, "What's Mum's phone code?" Disinterested, he told the code. It matched my code. Aghast, I had it. Funny, looking back, kid had the keys to the city. Knowing the code, put on imaginary gauntlets and donned imaginary body armor, picked up an imaginary sword and hoisted a fantastically thick shield. Imagine clanking down the hall, off to battle, off with her head. She was in the other room and oddly for the first time in days without her phone. Clanked to the phone wearing my imaginary armor and lifted my imaginary face guard. Stared at the job set. It stared back. Doubt teased me and failed. Manly instinct took over. Seconds to do the deed and might get caught. Off went imaginary gauntlets. Duck it. Gambled and tested the code. ... Bingo. Phone unlocked. Nervously fumbled getting it to relock, nearly getting caught. My head beaded sweat. Heard her coming down the stairs. Was my jobs, for no apparent reason. She swiped the phone off the C-Times unter and headed outside. Was sure she'd seen my jobs shaking. Felt immense pressure and salvation at the same time. The last time my body reacted that way was in 2nd grade. I'd been in a fight with Largus ruffian and lost. The shaking, the humility, jobs, legs and lips shaking. What if she changes the code? What if she knows I know the code? Have less hope and even less time. Hope is not a viable strategy. Next problem. Need the actual phone. Went for a drive to think. Manual transmission helps heal many things. Drove 87 southbound towards San Antonio. Car accelerates. Tail lights fade into a spring rain. The predictable pattern continued. Lame yet plausible excuses. Mum comes home late drunk then passes out with her phone under her breast. What next? She's snoring on the couch. The phone is 1/3 in plain sight. No more medieval night. Far too loud. My heart was beating 180 yet nerves calm. Think Indiana Jones. Raiders of the Lost Ark. The switch scene. Decision. Go fast and get out. Risking abrupt noise or creep in and risk being caught by being slow. Like Indiana Jones, did a bit of both. She rolled at the last second and there it was. Plucked it from her and whooshed out. Had the phone. She's dead asleep, snoring. The job set weighed heavy with secrets. Jules Winfield came into mind. Made my way downstairs and hid in a closet. It was pitch black and was staring at the screensaver, jobs frozen. Slid down to the floor, stared at picture of our family minus me. Took a huge breath, tapped the code, phone unlocked. Time for scary answers. The job set glowed with a golden light, toppled me into an endless emotional abyss, weightless, falling for hours. Every app held a new surprise. Texts from names of men I didn't know. One in particular with a photo in the contact. Jim, worse. It's from the Jenny evening girls' night out and she's thanking some guy for a great time again. Endless banter, and yes, the S times X is good. She's a basic needs type gal. S times X 3 times a week. More texts, pages and pages and page salacious as you might imagine. 3 months worth. All of her friends knew, especially the women I don't like. Miss Clue, yet expected. Seems affairs have a peanut gallery, fanning the flames with encouragement. No risk, so why not? Catfished a few of her friends. They confirmed the BF. Live vicariously, let your friend burn. Spent the entire night taking pictures of her phone with mine literally screenshots. Every email, every text, every picture, every rideshare record, every bank statement, every cash transaction. Search hidden and voila, a new trove of treasure. Social media act time zones. Tinder profiles. More times sexually explicit pictures shared. Details, every last one. Judge the men. Judged her. Got pictures of every text she sent me explaining her whereabouts. The headings are time and date stamped. It was easy putting together a matrix of where she actually was versus where she told me she was. Easy as pie. The phone went dead. 0% power. Everything I needed in job. Tossed the phone on the kitchen seat times unter, feeling no guilt. Then semi-sulked to the marital bedroom. Took a Xanax. Didn't sleep the rest of the night. My emotions swirled and my body stank. Took a shower and cried on the inside. Died in a way. A slow death. The betrayal was like a garrow. Before dawn left her and the house, driving towards town and went into a waking cafe. Over service pleasantries, quiche and a macchiato. Searched for a divorce attorney. Left my wedding ring on the table. Made an appointment, consulted for a few hours, and found 2 useful pieces of information. 1. Local divorce law required adultery to be proven by demonstrating an adulterous disposition and the opportunity for sexual intercourse. Penile insertion into vagina further. The paramours must be named. 2. If I can prove adultery and divorce her, she is not entitled alimony. Had solid evidence for number 1. Number 2 came into play later. Back home, she woke with a splitting headache and without her electronic companion, her link to a fantasy world. She might have known I had it. Can't imagine she'd suspect I was able to see the truth. Gave the newfound attorney $8,000 USD to start my case. We went through the process in the coming weeks. Personally filed the case with the C-Times on the clerk. 2 days later, she was served. I hear through others she was completely shocked. Informed her I have damning evidence. Absolute proof. She denied. She threatened the C-Times under suit. It came a week later. In her divorce C-Times under suit, she asked for $2,500 USD a week in alimony. Once her attorney received my entire discovery packet including the contents of her phone, the name, address, and personal info of the paramours, and all of the other lies, she withdrew her alimony request. She wanted to settle. The sweet started to sink in. Alimony would have been 2,500 x 52 weeks sex 20 years equals $2,600,000 USD. $2,600,000. 9 months later, the divorce was final. Felt so good to be the victorious plaintiff. Have not spoken to her since. It's been a while now. My adult children are ashamed of their mom. I've moved on and enjoy the company of a wonderful woman. Life couldn't be better. Got 99 problems but a beach ain't one. Still have $2,600,000 to spend on taking care of my new self. Maybe I'll get the Porsche I've always wanted. Maybe the license plate will read Haralimni. Late edit. Most versions of alimony were already taken as vanity plates. Good for the people who were able to get them. Discovering her affairs was bitter. I was tested. In the end, sweet indeed. Redditor 1. She most definitely got served. On a side note, please say you write novels. I buy and read all of them. I truly loved how you wrote this. Redditor 2. Impressive read, brother. Mine was the same way. She couldn't go more than 5 minutes without her phone. It was her fix. It's wow hat she was really married to. I despised the thing and rescinded her and it and everyone in it. I knew I wasn't her priority, but I had so much invested I chose to ignore it and just deal with it. As things got towards the end, it got so bad. Even now, when I see her driving randomly, she's got her face glued in it. That phone really is their fantasy world. They really do get careless and more brazen as their affairs continue. They already have a replacement supply and they don't really care if you find out. They are almost ready for it, but they still deny it if habit, I guess. It's crazy to read a few people's stories on here like yours and see the parallels. Redditor 3. Someone else shared this, and I mistakenly left this comment on that post, so I've copied it below. Thank you so much for sharing your experience. And with such a well-written story, I'll reading this out loud to another because it was just too well written to keep to myself. I remarked your writing reminded me of Ernest Hemingway. I can empathize and relate to the bitter sting of revelations. The truth will set you free. But first, it will piss you off. Upvote. Reply, Isiknak Spencer. Redditor 4. Thank you. I'll read it out loud to another, perhaps get the same feel. You are right. One must burn all the way down, suffer throatly, and endure the fall into an abyss while enduring a dark night of the soul. My dark night lasted 2 years. Eventually the embers cool, scattering to the winds. It's from this place you will rise to the light and enlightenment. First, you must burn. Redditor 5. Good for you. I wish I lived in a state where they get in trouble for cheating. I had even more proof than you. He got his side piece pregnant. But alas, I live in a no-fault state, and it's only half the amount of years you were married in alimony. Unless it's over 10 years, then it's lifetime support. And we were only married 9 years. My luck, hon. About a year before I left him, he lost his high-paying job and stopped paying mortgage. We lost our house. Even before meeting his sugar mama, he was mentally and financially abusive. As in took me off all times once, made me mildly disabled by having MS, have to get part-time jobs to feed me and the kids and pets, when I'd been a som for 8+ years, while he was off abbing around with her, lying saying it was business trips. He also filed bankruptcy, etc. I got next to nothing. I had to move out in the middle of nowhere. Literally nowhere at 29 Palms. Couldn't afford a rental. Since I left him, I had to find a lawyer that would take payments. He only wanted to use a paralegal. It was a nightmare. Couldn't afford copays on my MS meds, etc., etc. But almost 10 years later now, I'm in a much better place, remarried to a wonderful man, another child. I'm very loved her, but I wouldn't feel a bit sad or bad if he just upped and died. I loathe him with every fiber of my being for what he did to me and my older girls. He's the ultimate narcissist. Our girls loathe him too. I'm so glad you escaped having to pay that witch for 20 years. Shame on her. Many blessings to you. I hope you get that Porsche. Redditor 6. That's exactly how it feels trying to gather the evidence. But she asked for more a week than I make in a month. 2 even, and the divorce deposit costs more than I have in my bank times on. She had no idea something was up. How did you hide it until she was served? What happened with custody? It's a great ending.
Thank you for watching. Comment what do you think about this situation. Don't forget to like and subscribe.